Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I took somebody from black hair all the way to a super ashy light blonde hair. These pictures are her after pictures. I love this color. It turned out really gorgeous and it took 12 hours for this transformation. When she came in, she already had pretty light tips. So in this process, I started in the back just in case I needed to shampoo first. I didn't know how her hair was going to process. We didn't do a strand test. And she had pretty much a level 1. Most dark-headed clients have just off black at a level 2 or 3, but she had very, very black hair. So starting in the back, I took a part straight down the middle. And I would do one section, I would do a weave and go all the way to the root, and then about a 1/4 inch up, then I would tease the next section. Not too much, but just enough to get a good base on it. And then I would just put on the lightener and feather it up. So that way she would have multi-dimensional hair, but then when it grew out, she wouldn't have a huge line of demarcation. Saturation was super, super important, especially on this client since we were going so light. You can tell since her hair is really long too, I wasn't folding up the foils. I would just work in panels and I would make sure that I would squish the lightener and the bleach as I was going through all the way down, and then I would also make sure it was saturated on top so that way I couldn't see any of her hair through. We used about, I would say almost a can of bleach through this entire process. And this is why going from dark to light is so expensive, just because the product we use is an incredible amount, but it is so worth it. And I am using my favorite lightener, which is Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with the bond enforcing and 20 volume. I'm still using 20, even though I want to go from dark to light. I don't know if you've seen Lisa Loves Balayage. This is where I learned this from, that if you take 20 volume and you take 40 volume, in the same amount of time, they will end up at the same level. So in an hour, they will look the same. But a 40 will get you there faster, and a 40 volume is also going to chemically damage your hair more. So that's why I always go with 20, because I will sit 2 hours, no problem. I'll let my clients know that it's going to be a while, but it can get from dark to light. So at the beginning, I got really frustrated because it just wasn't lightening up like I'm used to, and because she had that level 1 base to start off. Most people, even though they have black hair, it's still like that level 2 or 3 that's just the darkest brown. But because she had that level 1 and my lightener only lifts so many levels, I got frustrated because it was still that yellowy orange color. And I'll stick a picture in at the end so you can see the whole process. But my lightener was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. It lifts just up to a certain point, and because she was just 2 to 3 levels darker than most of my clients, I just wouldn't budge past that point. But her hair felt amazing after. You can still tell in the pictures that it's shiny, it looks soft, it's manageable. And I love Schwarzkopf with the blonde enforcing because I don't have to use anything extra like Olaplex or B3. I feel like it has everything that it needs inside to lighten the hair, lift it safely, and make it feel awesome at the same time. I'm still working in panels as I go through the head, and at the crown I really like to take my time, and I like to do more of a finer weave and look at the hair as I have it in my hands and how it will lay. I still like that really diffused look. I don't want really blonde pieces right at the crown. So I'll just look at it and see how it naturally lays, if they have a wave or if their hair is super straight, and just play with it and go from there. As I put down my second foil, I really like to make sure that there is still a lot of saturation going through. If you don't get enough product right where that foil line is, then you can actually see where it hasn't lightened enough right where that line is. And so you just want to make sure that you're super saturated. I always lay my foil right on top, and that bottom foil, I like to do it horizontally instead of vertically, because vertically I feel like as my client moves just a little bit, it can fall right off. So putting it horizontally and making like a little sandwich will keep that foil tucked in and tight so it doesn't move, the hair is not going to move, and I'm not going to have foils flying away. Another trick to get really good saturation is using almost like a paintbrush. I know Framar makes, I hope I'm saying that right, Framar? Is that too Texan? Framar? I know that they make these awesome brushes that are like paint brushes, and I don't know if you can see it in this video, but I do go in between a small, more detailed brush, and then I also have a paint brush just so I can get more product in the hair, and it's a faster application. My application for this head took about an hour and a half, and I actually did the application 3 times, almost in a row. So we worked for about 9 hours the first day and then finished the second day. Okay, now I'm moving to the front and I'm doing baby lights. I'm doing them in a diagonal section so that way I get really good coverage, but I can also make sure I get that hairline saturated really well. And what I do is I usually get about 3 foils in diagonally before I start working horizontally again. So just right above this point, I'll start my last diagonal foil, then I'll switch to horizontal and then do another like diagonal, maybe 1 or 2 times. And that way I'm still getting good coverage, but I don't have to mess with my foils and clip them up as I'm going back through. I'm also using the same exact method that I did in the back to the front. So I'm taking a section and weaving it all the way to the root, and then I'll take a section and tease it a little bit so that way not everything is just right to the scalp. Toning tips. So if you're a stylist or maybe even a client is watching this and wants to go from dark to light, you have to get the hair to pretty much white. You want to get it to where it looks like the inside of a banana peel before you can even put a silver, a gray, a blue on top. Because if it's any color darker than that and it's yellow, and you put a blue, which is the ashy color, on top of yellow, you're gonna get green. And nobody wants this greeny, muddy, ashy, weird in-between color. And typically I will tone clients more than once, usually twice, sometimes 3 times. And that is completely okay. And I tell my customers what I'm doing so they don't think that I messed up their hair and I'm coloring and try to fix it or get it right. So whenever we lift hair, you're gonna show the underlying pigment, and at any level that is warm, whether it's red or orange or gold or yellow or light yellow, it's usually something that a customer doesn't want. So when I go in, what I'll do is I pre-tone to make a more even canvas. I'll either use a purple shampoo or ash or a V, just depending on where I'm at and where I want to be. And here we are with that in-between level before we lightened again, and then our after, where it was lifted to the inside of a banana peel.